I'll tell you what, it's a few minutes, it's 2 minutes after. I'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, this is recorded, so we can just show it to everybody. But we have sent out some information on the tournament teams. Tim Remington did a great job, put a flyer together for us. I'm going to kind of run through some of those things that are in the flyer and try to explain those if I can. And then, like I said, happy to take some questions from you guys. So first off, I'll just start off. This is our new junior deputy logo. For those of you who hadn't seen it, it's kind of all over our website. So again, Tim Remington did a good job developing that logo. Let's start out with kind of the main question, I think, which is who is eligible to play for junior deputy Little League tournament teams. And so there's kind of really three requirements, and that's any player with a birth date in the correct range. And we've got those ranges listed here. So Little League offers tournament trail in 7 different age groups. Minor coach pitch 7-8, minor 9-10, minor 9 or 10-11, major 10-11-12, intermediate 11-12 and 13, junior 12 and 14, and senior 13, 14, 15, and 16. So as long as you're in one of those age groups, one of those birth date ranges, you're eligible to compete for junior deputy, so long as you meet the other 2 requirements. And those are, you have to participate in 60% of junior deputy league games. So that's why we're kind of making this tournament team push now before the league registration ends and before league season starts. We want this tournament team program to be a big deal for players. And we want to emphasize that you've got to play in league first before you can play on the tournament teams. And then the third component is you have to live or attend school within the junior deputy boundary map. And every Little League has a boundary map. Here's ours. I know that may be a little bit hard to see, but if you put in your address or zip code for your home or for your school, if you put it into the Little League league finder, it'll tell you if you're within our boundary map or not. If you're not within our boundary map, it's really not that big of a deal right now because there's not any other leagues that abut us. So we can get players well, we already have some players that are grandfathered in, but we can also get waivers for players that are new to the park who may not live within our boundary map or may not attend school within our boundary map. When we got our Little League charter a year ago, we had about a 2-page list of players who are kind of grandfathered in who lived, North Little Rock, Sherwood, whatever it may be. As long as they were playing at junior deputy when we got our Little League charter in February of 2020, they're already grandfathered in. So I don't think the boundary map should be something that prohibits players from playing at junior deputy either in league or on tournament teams. So again, let's go back to that. There's just those 3 things. Got to have a birth date within the correct range. Participate in 60% of league games. There obviously are exceptions for injury or for high school players, and then they have to live or attend school within our boundary map. Let's talk quickly about the 60% rule as it pertains to senior league, because I know we have some senior league folks on here. Essentially, we just have to figure out when the high school season ends for those players, and then they have to make 60% of the league games after that point. At the point they're released from AAA activities and released back to junior deputy. Okay. I thought this was kind of a question that's come up a couple times already. How many junior deputy Little League tournament teams may a player be rostered on? Despite the overlap in ages, players can only be rostered on one tournament team roster. So for instance, you may be a 10-year-old player that could play on the minor 10-11 team or on the major 10-11-12 team. The only requirement is that you can only be rostered to one of those tournament teams. You can't be rostered to multiple teams. Same deal. We may have a player that's 12 years old playing 50-70 in our Little League program. They can't play on both the intermediate team and the junior team. They can only play on one. And I think that's a good thing for us. Hopefully there's enough interest and we're able to have enough players to fill all of these teams. Just quickly, this is in the flyer, but we are going to have kind of a tournament team program uniform. Every player that makes one of these teams is going to have the exact same 2 jerseys, same hat. Hopefully all the state tournaments will be held at the same sites, and people will be able to see junior deputy kind of roll out in matching uniforms. So you got to look good to play good, as everyone likes to say. So finally, just wanted to kind of talk quickly, who will junior deputy play in these tournaments? There's really not a whole lot of other Little League organizations in the state of Arkansas. I think that's one of the appealing things to me about us being a Little League program, is that we just don't have to beat a whole lot of programs to win a state championship and move on to regionals. The other chartered organizations in the state are Arkadelphia, Bismarck, Centerton, Cabot, Pine Bluff, and Whitehall. We are by far the largest league. And so that should give us an upper hand when it comes to these state tournaments in summer 2021. And then I wanted to go back just quickly. Here are the state tournament dates and location. Oh, we don't have the locations. We do know where some of the regionals are going to be held and where the World Series are going to be held. And so as we get additional information on state tournament dates, state tournament locations, I will continue to update people on that. So, but this is the best information we have right now. And as you'll notice, not all these state tournaments are on the same weekends. But again, players can only play for one state tournament team. So with that, I'm going to be quiet and answer any questions that folks may have. Thank you for your, again, for your time and attention tonight. Any questions?
Hey, Carter, this is Aaron Brown. I've only got 2 quick ones. Will this pretty much be established at near the end of the season of who makes the team to play in the summer? Or is and then the second question to that is the academy team. Will only the academy team players be I don't want to say looked at, but be chosen for this program?
Yeah, great question. I almost went ahead and included that in the slideshow. But yeah, so first question is about when can we pick these teams? When can we select these players? So I'm sorry, Little League has a rule that says you cannot announce your tournament team until after June 1st. So again, what we're trying to do now is just kind of make sure everybody understands that we're going to have a tournament team program in summer 2021. With the academy program that we've had the last few years, it's kind of seemed like the season for league players has ended when that league season is over, right? There hasn't been a lot of Cal Ripken All-Star teams or Babe Ruth All-Star teams that are formed. We just kind of want to let everybody know that that is going to happen this summer. Going back to the kind of the second part of your question, Aaron, is only those players who play for the Little Rock A's teams and participate in our league and play 60% of the games are going to be even eligible for these junior deputy tournament teams. So there may be players that are doing, we would, in the old days, we'd call it academy only. If it's A's only or whatever, that's going to prohibit them from even being evaluated for these teams. So again, you got to play in league in order to be eligible for our league tournament teams.
But are you saying you have to play on the A's also?
No.
Okay.
No. So any player that plays in league that says, "Hey, I want to be evaluated for a tournament team," they're going to have that opportunity. If players play for the A's and then also want to play for a tournament team, that's allowed. There may be players that don't play for the A's but play for other USSSA organizations. So long as they, again, meet those 3 requirements, as far as living within the boundary map, playing 60% of the games, and making the age cutoffs, they're going to get a look, or they're going to be evaluated.
Thank you.
Did that help answer your question, Aaron, or do you have some follow-up?
That was exactly right. That's exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't want anybody to feel like they've got to do Little Rock A's in order to make these tournament teams. This is a completely separate deal. Again, we would like to have every single one of those Little Rock A's players dual participate, meaning play for the Little Rock A's and also play in our junior deputy Little League. Other questions? Thank you, Aaron.
Hey, we have a 7-year-old that's going to be playing at junior deputy. Is it going to be a separate tryout for the tournament teams, or are they just evaluated throughout the season?
Yeah, that's a great question. And so I don't necessarily, well, and that's part of why we wanted to have this conversation early, is we haven't exactly mapped out what that's going to look like or when that's going to happen. Hopefully there's enough interest where we do have evaluations, right? And hopefully there'll be multiple teams in certain age groups. For instance, the 7 and 8-year-olds, that coach pitch division, I believe we can have as many teams in that age group as we want. So if there's enough kids to form 2 or 3 or 4 teams, then certainly what we would do is we would have kind of an evaluation process, and then we would have coaches select those teams out. So it's not going to be kind of a season-long evaluation. It's going to be, we're going to have a deadline where you've got to turn in an interest form. Again, we've already got an interest form out there now. That's really so we can start the communications on this, but we'll have probably another deadline where we say, listen, if you want to be on this team, you've got to sign this form, and then you've got to show up at the evaluation. And then after that evaluation, we'll announce the rosters. And also, because there's some overlap in age groups, there may be some players who say, hey, look, I'm 10 years old. I know I can play for a couple different teams. But I'm going to be traveling. I'm going to be on vacation on this certain weekend. And so maybe they need to, if they're going to make a team, they need to make the one team on the weekend they're available to play. Did that help answer your question on that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So there will be, again, assuming there's enough interest, and I think there will be, we absolutely will have a specific day where we have players come and evaluate. And we wouldn't do, we're going to have tournament teams again from ages 7 all the way to 16. We wouldn't necessarily evaluate all of those players together. We would break it up by age group. Had a message from Ralph Jackson saying he couldn't hear. Can you hear now, Ralph? Okay, well, if you can't, again, we're recording this, and so I'll make that recording available for everyone, so that hopefully you can get your audio worked out. Other questions?
Will there be, this is Laura Webb, will there be fees and costs associated with the tournaments?
Great question. So I think the biggest cost associated will be uniform cost. And then also there'll be some tournament entry fee cost. And so I still need to find out from the Arkansas district administrator what those costs are going to be per team. And then I'm working with SportStop. Obviously, I showed y'all the uniform design. I'm still working with SportStop on how much those uniforms are going to cost on a per unit basis. So I think there will be a cost. Each player, again, will essentially be a uniform and tournament entry fee price. And we'll get that communicated just as soon as we get those two things nailed down. As soon as we get pricing nailed down with SportStop and get the tournament fee nailed down with the state administrator. Hopefully, I'm just kind of ballparking this. My goal is to get all that cost under $100, $100 per player. And then obviously we would also, if there were families with financial need, we would work on making sure that finances weren't a barrier to entry for any player. Great question. Great question. Other questions?
Who would the coaches be for these tournament teams?
I had a little feedback there, but I think the question was, who will the coaches be for these tournament teams? I think that's a really good question. That's something I'm hoping to have kind of nailed down before we start the league season, so that I can come back and say, hey, look, here are the people who are interested in coaching. And so Let me tell you how we'll handle it in Little League for players ages 9 to 13 is I'm going to go through with the managers and kind of work my way based on order of finish, right? So we'll take the team that finished first last year. Okay, does their manager want to manage a tournament team? And then I'll just work all the way down, all 8 organizations, finding out which managers are interested. Then we'll work through the coaches in Little League and find out who all is interested. I think it should work, although I haven't had conversations with the 7 and 8-year-old commissioner or the senior league commissioner. I think it'll probably work similarly at those age groups as well. So I think what you'll have before we start the league season is parents will have a list of the managers and coaches who are interested in coaching tournament teams. You're not necessarily going to know that Coach A is going to coach the 10, 11, and 12-year-old major team. You're not going to know that Coach B is going to coach one of the 7 and 8-year-old teams. I want to try to create as much flexibility as we can in how we get players and managers and coaches matched up. Kind of a better way of saying that is I don't want anybody to say, hey, I don't want to try out for that 11 and 12-year-old team because I really don't like Coach so-and-so. Again, if we have to, there may be guys or guys or girls who want to manage a tournament team, but they really only want to do it if their son or daughter makes the team. And I understand that. And so we'll try to provide as much flexibility for that as we can. My perception is that folks want to know who the pool of coaches are, but they're not necessarily going to rule it in or out if they know who the coach is in advance. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Thank you.
But that's a great question. I think, again, I see this as an opportunity for more baseball for a lot of kids, and it's going to be summer baseball. That's one of the things I'm really excited about for Little League. For so many years when we were trying to run our academy program, the state tournament dates for USSSA would conflict with Cal Ripken and Babe Ruth state tournament dates. We're not going to have that issue moving forward. Little League state tournaments are always in mid-July or in July to early July to mid-July. And for instance, this year, the USSSA state tournaments are at the end of June. So part of the fee each player will pay is they're going to get probably anywhere between 1 to 3 weeks of practice at junior deputy with this tournament team before they go to a state tournament. And so just like last summer when we played a later schedule because of the pandemic, I thought it was really beneficial for the players because they had some consistency in how often they got to practice and play. There's just not as many rainouts in the summer. And so playing July baseball, I think will be a great thing in the development of a lot of young baseball players at junior deputy. Other questions? I think I had checking over here. Yeah, Steve, you got your hand raised. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, I noticed either on the email or a link I clicked on that it said that players had to have played 60% of the regular season, except for high school players. Is there a minimum for high school players? Because there are some guys that hadn't been to the park in 2, 3, 4, 5 years that we might be able to bring back. So I wanted to know whether to reach out to them or.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and again, that's Steve, thanks for joining us tonight. That's part of why we wanted to have this meeting now is we're planning to start league games in mid-April. So if we can go out and recruit players back to the park to say, hey, look, come play league ball at junior deputy, and you're going to have this opportunity for a tournament team. So for the high school kids, Steve, they only have to play in 60% of the games once their high school season concludes.
Okay.
Right. So it's not 60% of the whole season. It's just going to be 60% of their smaller season, which should be pretty doable. Same thing for injuries, right? If you've got a player at any age, 7 to 16, if they break an arm or something like that, they just need to have played in 60% of the games for which they were healthy to play. I think that's a great question. And again, this is our first year. Hopefully, last year was our first year being chartered with Little League. Obviously, it was in a pandemic. And so things were a little different. Little League canceled all of its tournaments last year. No Little League World Series, no state tournament. So this will be our first go through or go around on this tournament trail. And so we're just trying to communicate as much as we can to as many people as we can so that everyone kind of understands the process. And hopefully we can create a strong tournament team program that is around for many years to come. Other questions? You can use the chat feature, or you can just blurt them out, or you can raise your hand. I've got another monitor over here where I can see all of your beautiful faces.
Hey, Carter, I may have missed this earlier, and if I did, I apologize. You don't have to answer again, but when will the teams be selected? Who will do the selecting? And kind of what's the criteria? Is it just going to be coaches from that league get together and kind of put their heads together, or what?
Yeah, great question. So by rule, we cannot announce these rosters before June 1st. That's not a junior deputy rule. That's a Little League rule. And so really it's supposed to be kind of this is a postseason tournament team trail. And so what we will do is, again, we're going to try to get as much interest in the program as we can. And then we will actually set an evaluation date. And then the coaches for that league, and then also the coaches who are wanting to be the managers and coaches of those tournament teams will sit down and do the selections. One other thing that I found very interesting, kind of in some of the Little League literature, and I think this is something we need to I need to get this fleshed out so that everyone can see what the process is in writing before the season starts. But I think it would be important to have players vote on who should be on these teams as well, right? I mean, these kids are all smart. They know, they know who their buddies are, but they also know who the best players in the league are. And so I think we'll probably also give players a vote as well. But my goal is to kind of between now, it's late February right now, before we start games in mid-April, the entire selection process will be written out so everybody can see it. Again, the main focus right now is to get people signed up for league and let them know that there is going to be a postseason tournament trail. So Dr. Covert, don't book your vacation until August. That answer your question, Kent, or do you want some more clarification on that?
No, that's perfect. That's what I want to know. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Hey, great question. Glad to have you on here. I'm hoping again, I know you've got a 7-year-old son. Get them started early at 7 and 8 and play on a bunch of tournament teams. And then, by the time they reach 11 or 12 and it's their Williamsport year, we'll be ready. Okay, other questions? I'm looking over here. I don't see anything in the chat. Certainly, I don't want to keep anybody later than we already have tonight, but anything else? Okay, well, I'll go ahead and wrap this up. I just want to thank all of you for participating tonight, coming and listening to me. Again, there'll be a recording. I can send that around in case you missed any of it. And if people ask you about the program, you can certainly direct them to me, or you can direct them to the website where we have the tournament team flyer. Some of you have already kind of completed our Google form, kind of expressing an interest in the program. I appreciate you doing that. Again, if people want to participate, direct them to that Google form. That'll kind of be our email list as we kind of get started in communicating about the program. So thank you guys so much. Everybody have a great evening. Hopefully the weather will improve soon and we can all start practicing down at JD. So thank you all. Have a good evening and good night. Bye-bye.